Oh my God, it'll make, with talking points, stats and statistics. All right, let's roll.
This is Doc Griggs here with the free agents. Trying to encourage you to get out, get checked, get fit, get moving. There's only one way to do it. The only way we know how in New Orleans. We hot, we skip, and we like to do something. Do something. It doesn't matter what you do. Get moving, I just want you to move. I think you know how to do that. In New Orleans, we move really well. We hot, we skip.
Well, we're here to help you do something. So good evening, good evening, good evening. It is Tuesday night, and so you know what it is. It is your favorite Tuesday night talk show that is called Get Checked, Get Fit, Get Moving here with Dr. Griggs. Of course, I am the co-host, Ellis Dean of blackdoctor.org. And tonight's program is a fantastic one, and it's something that we all do, or we all should be doing. We all do it. We all do it at some point. Some of us don't do it well. Some of us need to be doing it better, but we're going to talk about that is sleep. So before we begin, I got a couple of housekeeping things we want to do. Number one, let us know where you're watching from. So drop that in the comment section. We'd like to know where people are watching us from all over the world. Number two, if you know somebody that needs this information, please, please, please tag them, share it on your page, get this information out to them because this is valuable. We're talking about sleep, y'all. And then finally, if you have a question that you want to get answered, please drop that in the comment section and we will get your question asked and answered. With that being said, what's up, Dr. Griggs? What's going on?
I can't dance. My feet hurt, man. I'm tired. I'm sleepy. Yeah. Was that my line? I think that was my line. Yeah. Am I supposed to be sleepy or awake? Either way, I think I'm off balance. How about that?
How about that? Yes, that is, and that's why we're here tonight. We're going to talk about sleep, and we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and what you could do. And the beautiful thing we do about this show is we're going to talk about why it's important for you, but we're also going to give you some solutions of what you can do to improve your sleep. And when you improve your sleep, guess what happens? Your overall health will improve. So we're going to talk about all of that tonight. So first question is this. Okay, why is sleep such a big part of your health and wellness, and what happens to your body while you're sleeping?
Wow. So great. That's a great question. The first thing you want to think about is the fact that, you spend 8 hours of your day working, and then you're supposed to spend 8 hours of your day relaxing. And then the rest of it, it's your time to recover. Everything happens. You spend a third of your life sleeping. It's pretty important. What sleep does, it allows you to repair any damage that was done to the body during the day, rest up and replenish energy stores, improve your immune system, and recharge for the next day. If you'll notice that when you have a good night's sleep, you're able to process problems and things that you ever took a test, man? You ever took a test? Or and been studying. I don't know I know when I was in school, in college especially, I cram, like, you know what, I could give up. Then I wake up and it's like through osmosis, I fell asleep on top of my books and it just absorbed. It was because I was able to sleep and my mind was able to process. Though our bodies are physically resting, your mind is still processing. So that time for restoration and rejuvenation and restoring is crucial.
So a couple other things. I know that's when your toxins get flushed out of the body through your liver, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong on that?
Oh, so yeah, your liver. Yeah, so I'm careful with the word toxins because, a lot of people like detoxing through their feet. Well, the body processes things as far as detoxification with your skin, your liver, and basically your kidneys. And that's, the GI tract, the urinary tract, and your skin are the main ways that you get rid of waste. And you can include your respiratory system too if you're breathing out CO2 and breathing out things that you shouldn't breathe. But yeah, that's time when your body goes through a state of restoration. Particularly, there's a thing that called free radicals. Those are free small electrons that go through and just wreak havoc on cells and damage processes. Well, free radical scavenging or collection or a removal of free radicals happens during particularly stage 4 REM sleep and growth hormone. And that's when your body sits down. Think about this. You're shutting your body down to do nothing but repair itself and prepare. It's kind of beautiful, right? Just chill out and let us do this is what it's saying.
Right. Oh, that's fantastic. So on the opposite end of that spectrum, what impact does a lack of sleep or less sleep or that non-REM sleep, what impact does that have on your health and wellness?
So what's interesting is, if you think in real world terms, people that work third shift have a significantly higher chance of dying from heart attack, chronic disease, and stroke. If you don't get enough sleep and you don't give yourself time to do these things, the body just doesn't function the way it should. If any of us that's been sleep deprived for any period of time, like things due to stress, work, drinking. I hate to say it. Well, you know what? I'm going to say it. Drinking too much alcohol doesn't allow you to sleep enough. People with obstructive sleep apnea, and that's another show that we're going to do. People that just don't get enough sleep tend to shorten their lives, increase their risk not only of chronic diseases, but increase their risk of things like accidents. Because of the inability to focus, they increase their reaction time when they're out driving or trying to protect themselves. So a lack of sleep can lead to a whole number of things that I'm sure some of it's experienced, hopefully to a smaller degree. Right. But we're familiar.
So how much sleep should a normal adult get each night?
So on average, we say that the average adult between 18 and 64 roughly is just 7 to 9 hours of sleep. With infants, with babies, as we all know. I mean, it's funny. I keep saying we act like we don't understand and we like bad understanding. Like we just don't use common sense. Think about it. When a baby's asleep, we know that baby's asleep. Let that baby rest. Babies do a lot. All they eat, they sleep, they poop, they pee. And that's pretty much their lives, right? And you'll notice as they get older through the different stages, different months have different requirements because as the body is working to build this beautiful human being, it requires more energy and energy conservation. While it's doing that, it kind of needs us to get out of the way. So you can go from 13 to 17, 17 to 13 to 12, to 11 to now to the adult years, 7 to 9 hours. Then as we become seniors, we require a little bit more sleep. It can be up to 11 hours. So it depends. Roughly 9 hours of sleep. And for the sake of our audience, I want everyone on this call and on this screen, the two people on the screen, to put their hand up. If they get there, 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Yeah.
That's a good question. So answer
myself included.
In the comments, do you get 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night? And that's real. That's undisturbed sleep, where you can get 2 REM cycles, because the REM cycle takes about 3 to 4 hours. Is that right?
Yeah, about 3 to 4 hours, and it can do varying things to get there. Now, if you want to talk real, a lot of times, and the studies are out, taking what they call exogenous or melatonin, these supplements, is not necessarily the best thing for you. It can throw off your, Paulina, I see you. No, only 5 to 6. I see you, but I might see it because I'm probably you, because I need to work on my sleep game. Patsy's doing better at 6 to 7. All right, Patsy, climbing the leaderboard. But no, melatonin and supplements and other things to help you sleep. A lot of people try to supplement their sleep with Benadryl. It can throw off your natural sleep cycle. There's a little gland between your eyes. There's this thing called the optic chiasm. The optic nerve innervates in the eye, and there's a little bridge like in between it. And right between it is this little thing hanging like looks like a little grapes, like a cluster of grapes, called the pineal gland. What the pineal gland does, it helps the body regulate the amount of light that the eye takes in, and it secretes this stuff called, dun, 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 drum roll, melatonin. The more melatonin, and what happens is, as the light changes over the course of the day, more melatonin comes out, and your body starts to try to shut down for you to sleep. As you take these exogenous supplements, talk to your doctor about any supplements you want to take. You can throw off your circadian rhythm. And a lot of times it can take, for every 1 hour of sleep that you lose, it can take 3 to 4 hours during the week to try to catch up. So sleep debt is very real, and it's not a one-to-one ratio like a lot of people try to think.
Okay, so let's talk about and there's a good question and a good comment here from Wakana. Not every night, talking about the 7 to 9 hours. However, we'll take a nap. So what role does nap play a part in that 7 to 9 hours? So if I take a 2-hour nap, do I only need 5 hours at night?
No, so you got to watch your nap game, because a lot of times that nap game, you want to listen to your body with your nap game. That nap game, anything longer than 20 minutes, up to 20 minutes can be reinvigorating, rejuvenating, and anything longer than that can actually throw your sleep off. I don't know if you've had a sleep deficit you forgot about from the weekend. You fall asleep on a random Tuesday, you sleep for 2-3 hours, and then you're up till 2 o'clock in the morning binge watching something on Netflix or Hulu. And you're thrown off for the rest of the week. So you want to just be really careful with it and watch your sleep hygiene and watch your regular sleep.
That's all right. So and that was something I'm chronic napper. Like if I got an hour, sometimes I'll put an hour. So I had to stop that. Right. So there's some.
So let me ask you, Ellis, what happened though? So let's talk real well. No one's a bigger expert than someone that made the mistake. What did it do to you?
Well, I was up late at night. I wasn't getting my 7 to 9 hours. I would stay up longer when I would take those naps. And I wasn't getting that full deep sleep when I would go to sleep, because I took that nap during the day. And so another thing I had to stop doing was drinking those energy drinks, because you the rise and crash, and that can throw you off too. That can throw off your heart rate and all that things. So I completely stopped energy drinks altogether.
So the energy drinks is one thing. That the rise and crash with a lot of people think it's sugar. No, it's actually the caffeine. There's mega doses of caffeine. You don't want to drink generally after about 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If you plan on going to bed at 9 or 10, you want to stop drinking coffee. No more than 2 cups a day generally is the rule, an easy rule to follow. And you want to look at the amount of caffeine in those energy drinks and see what it would be in the equivalent of coffee, because it can cause a heart racing, the insomnia, and worse, it could potentially cause heart attack or stroke.
Well, we've got some great questions coming in. So this topic is really resonating with our audience. So we've got a good question from Paulina. How does
they're wide awake? Oh, that was bad.
They're wide awake. How does the blue light from the computer, phone, etc., affect melatonin production? Well, we got some.
So that's from Paulina. That's a great question. And again, true experts are the ones with the bad habits like myself. The blue light can interfere with your sleep patterns, and can throw off your circadian rhythms. As you know, we are conditioned. I don't know about y'all, but I have to really break myself of the habit of waking up in the morning, looking at the blue light emitted from my phone, and going to sleep to the blue light emitted from my phone or my television. Proper sleep hygiene. The thing is, we're typically wisest with our health when we're at the extremes of age. The same people that we try to protect are the same people that we need to emulate. When we're babies and it's time to go to sleep, they want the TV off, the best sleep, the TV off, quiet, cool, and sleep until you wake up. Same thing when we're seniors, 65 and up. We tend to get, if you have kids, at about age 10 or 11, we know everything. And we know so much that we can know ourselves to death, and we can know ourselves to insomnia. How about that? We want to stay up. I know I shouldn't, but I'm gonna drink some coffee and just stay up all night, and then wondering the next day why you're not productive. So the answer is absolutely yes. You want to try to turn off not just the blue lights, but you want to turn off the things that are coming from the blue lights, like scary movies, like the chronic news cycle that we tend to watch, those exciting stories, because our brains don't stop working. Our brains, we might physically stop moving, but our brains are still processing. And remember, a lot of problems that we have in that REM sleep, we're able to process and solve problems. We've all done it. You have to quiet your mind and intentionally work on your sleep hygiene game, but we'll get to that towards the end. That's a great question.
All right, last question, then we're going to get to some of the solutions. But there have been some great questions coming in. So this is from Linda. Linda says, when should I stop drinking water before bed to keep me from going to the bathroom during the night?
So depending on your physical state and your status and the medications that you're on, the body tends to need to shut down 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed each night with food and water. Your body is preparing to sleep. What happens is as you drink water and you eat food, you tend to process. With food, there are two enzymes. One's called HMG-CoA reductase, and the other one's called PFK1. The reason I bring them up is because I know I usually don't get that specific, but it's really, really, really familiar. If you take something like a statin or Lipitor, that's where it works with HMG-CoA reductase. What happens is after you eat, the body, remember, is preparing to hibernate or go to sleep like a bear. So what happens is as you eat things, the HMG-CoA reductase helps the body take that stored energy and convert it to fat. Well, that fat in the blood is called cholesterol, which is why your statins work better at night. But it's almost like a first, second, and third shift. HMG-CoA reductase comes in, PFK1 is the one that chops it up, everything while we're eating, right, for energy. HMG-CoA reductase comes in 3 hours before you go to bed and starts storing everything. And that's how you tend to gain weight at night. If you've ever eaten too late at night, you'll notice that you'll either wake up in the middle of the night with a stomach ache, or you'll wake up with GERD the next morning. If you drink, your body will tell you if you're drinking too much water and what time. If you're waking up in the middle of the night and you're not on any type of diuretic, of which coffee is one, to go to the bed. So your body will let you know, but generally the number's 3 hours before you go to bed.
3 hours. So Linda, that's a fantastic question.
If you don't like to pee, put that water down. Remember, if you don't like to pee, remember the number 3.
Well, you know what? It's funny. Like all of these habits that you're talking about, like I have some of those bad habits. I'm the person that falls asleep with the TV on. I'm the person that goes to bed with my water, and it's right there on the nightstand. I drink some water, then I put it there, and then it still has ice in it because it's a Yeti. And so I wake up in the morning and I start drinking the water again. So it's like, because I'm trying to increase my water intake, but we have to shut that down and let our body completely rest.
Well, I'll tell you this real quick. One of the things with respect to water, if you'll notice when you wake up in the morning that your urine is really, really, really concentrated, right? It's yellow, 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 right? That's because your body has been working. All the processes have been working all night. And one of the first things that we have to do when we stand up, gravity helps the water, boom, fall down to our bladder. We have to go to the bathroom. So basically we're waking up dehydrated. So drinking that same water you want to drink at night, you drink a bottle in the morning to catch up, and it's amazing how much more rejuvenated you'll feel. So change your water game to the morning instead of at night. If you don't want to pee, stop drinking. Remember the number 3 hours before you go to bed. No pee, don't drink after 3 hours before you go to bed. Pee and 3.
Okay, so
urine, should I say? Yes.
Yeah. So, question: can you get too much sleep?
So that's an interesting question. Of course, there's always the possibilities for you to do any and everything. If you make such a sleep deficit, I don't know about you, Ellis, but particularly in the last few years, I've just almost run my body down to the point that I will lose days almost, because your body, if you don't take time for your body will stop the time to take care of itself. Yes. Has anyone ever taken a nap or fallen asleep and lost time? You wake up, you think it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's 6 o'clock the next evening, because your body is trying to protect itself. And then it takes a while. I'll tell you what, it takes a while to reset and get on a normal rhythm, because you're up all night and you're throwing it off even further. So you want to do the best you can to try to be intentional with your sleep hygiene.
All right, y'all, you're hearing it. All right, so it's time to get checked. So we're going to talk about getting checked. And so what are some of the things we can do? What are the sleep disturbances? What are some things that could disturb our sleep so we don't get that full 7 to 9 hours per night as we should as adults, and that could also impact that REM sleep. So what are some sleep disturbances, some things that we need to kind of look out for?
So, barring any other illnesses, of course, you want to talk to your healthcare provider if you have any underlying diseases that might do so. Your thyroid can be one, hyperthyroidism, stress in the day. I mean, we can living in the cortisol and fight or flight mode. Cortisol and epinephrine fight or flight mode can cause us to worry and not get enough sleep. Now, those are things that you can talk to your physician about, your healthcare provider about. But other things include coffee intake. Again, we talked about it, eating too late prior to going to bed, drinking too much water, exercising within that 3-hour window before you go to bed can rev up your machine so much. If you can imagine your body, boom, 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 working, and revving up the machine, spinning it to the point that it takes some time to wind down, and then you're up. Eating too late, we mentioned water, alcohol, caffeine, and stress are things that we can all control. And the important thing is to be intentional about your sleep. As intentional as you are with your living and being awake, you need to have a sleep routine that you try to get in a routine of practicing every night.
Absolutely, yeah, and that routine is a great kind of piece of advice, because we understand that when you start feeling your body shutting down and you're sitting on the couch, you've already finished dinner, you're sitting on the couch, start watching TV, and your body starts shutting down, instead of forcing out ways to continue to watch that program, or because then your body says, all right, well, you're not trying to go to sleep, and you could flip and stay up later than you need to, just go to bed, right? Your body's telling you.
You hit it on the head. Like, so if you, and I'm working on this personally myself, I like to watch TV. I really enjoy watching TV, a good story. So rather than watching TV, get a book, read a book. Yeah. We've forgotten the art of reading a real, I know some people don't believe they exist, but an actual book made of paper. You can hold it and you can read, you can put it down, make it part of your routine, and make it something that won't be too thought-provoking. I've caught myself, I've left the TV on, and there's been a dude getting chased by dogs or monsters, and I find myself in my sleep running from the same monsters. Find something relaxing, peaceful that you'd like to read. Turn the TV off, because your body, again, is responding to any auditory stimuli. It's part of a protective response of the body, that any loud noises or startling things to wake you up to protect yourself. Remember, turn off the fight or flight and pick up a book.
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea. I got one there too. It's right next to my water. So I'm gonna put the water away, pick the book up.
Pick up the water in the morning, man.
What are some common sleep disorders that can be checked or remedied, like sleep apnea or anything else?
Well, sleep apnea, of course, you can ask the doctor to check the diameter of your neck, larger than 17 for men. I think it's 16. I'm off. I need more sleep. The diameter of your neck. For men, hyperthyroidism, thyroid goiter, anything that can compress your airway can cause snoring. If you get complaints from snoring from your siblings, roommates, significant other, ask to get a sleep study to see whether or not you're eligible for CPAP, or do something to address the sleep apnea. Losing weight as we become more girthy, as I have, sadly. Shut up, Ellis. The excess weight can tend to compress the airway and can cause more difficulty breathing. And what can happen is it can cause you to wake up in the middle of the night. Not only are you not getting to that deep level of sleep, you're waking up, which is a stressful thing that can cause stress on your heart and can lead to heart disease. Thyroid, heart disease, family history of sleep disorders. The big thing is you want to really check and wind down your mental health. Stress will keep you up and can lead to a number of things, and sleep deprivation is one of them.
Right. So be intentional. That's kind of one of those mental health words. Be intentional about your sleep each night and find ways to reduce your stress, whether that's meditation. We have a wonderful program here called The Poetry of Healing. Dr. Paulina Van is on Sundays, and she does a great job of talking about helping people meditate with heart-focused breathing. And there's a number of methodologies that she does on her show that can kind of help you relax if you're having a hard time quieting the mind. Because I'm one of those people. I got the ADHD, so my mind's always firing. And so when even it's hard for me to go to sleep. That's why sometimes I convince myself that's why I would turn on the TV, because then I could focus on that one thing, quiet the mind down, and then I'll fall asleep. But what was happening is the TV's still on. I'm hearing the sounds from the TV, and I'm not getting a full deep sleep. Even though I'm asleep, I'm not being able to get into that deep sleep that your body needs in order to replenish and repair. So got to find other ways to focus. So that reading is a great idea, because I can shut that down. I close the book and go to sleep, versus the sight and sounds that's happening on TV that keeps your brain active.
And the big thing you mentioned was the breathing, right? If you close your eyes and you focus on slowing your breathing down, you're telling your brain that everything is okay. You're slowing the breathing. You're stimulating what's called the vagus nerve, which is part of the parasympathetic system. It helps to slow everything down and wind things down just with the breathing. Because if you think about it, when you get afraid or excited, that's when you start to breathe quickly. And that's when the epinephrine and the cortisol come out to try to keep you awake. Hey, man, don't fall asleep. What's going on? Let's get out of here. Right. Breathing, slowing down, closing the book. And also ask your doctor about any medications that will affect your sleep, or that might cause you to get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Yeah, we got that.
Yep. Some medications are diuretics. Some medications, like I know there's some mental health medications that you shouldn't be taking at night, because they have an energy. There's some like antidepressants that have an energy stimulant part of it. Yeah. ADHD medication is a stimulant, which, you know, it's a little bit weird. So make sure you have that conversation. Light,
false light, and natural light. You can sleep in a dark room. Your body's, remember what I said about the circadian rhythm, right? If you have light, your body is kind of confused. Like, are we supposed to be up or down? Because look at all this light. Do we need to protect ourselves, or what's going on?
Yeah. So, okay. So now it's time to get fit. So that's about getting checked. So let's get fit. So what are some of the common ways to know if you have a sleep disturbance?
Common ways are, the big thing to know is if you're feeling tired, fatigued all the time, you can't catch up. If you have a significant other or roommate that tells you you snore, or that you stop, you sound like the lawnmower that keeps stopping, you need to talk to your doctor about it. Again, I keep mentioning any thyroid conditionings. We have a history of thyroid goiters in my family for at least 3 generations, that we constantly, the thyroid is located here. The goiter is an overproduction of tissue that grows. It's usually benign, but anything that can impede your breathing can cause a sleep disorder, sleep apnea, or sleep disorder.
Okay. And what are some ways we can improve our sleep on our own? I know we mentioned a couple already. We talked about turning off all the lights, turning off the TV, putting down the phone, all that blue light. We've also talked about there are some ways that deep breathing, that slowing that breathing down, that meditation, reading a book to kind of really slow the mind down, and be able to focus on one thing. That's another way. So what are some other tips that you can give?
In simplest terms, what I like to tell people is pretend you're babysitting a 2-year-old, a really hyper and irritable and fun 2-year-old. What would you do once that kid fell asleep, or to make it go to sleep? What would you do? For the same thing you would do for that 2-year-old is exactly what you should do for yourself. You might read the kid a story. When it's really night time, you turn off all the lights and you lay still and you're quiet and you don't talk about anything. Shut down the conversations in your mind. The one thing you don't do is you don't give the kid food, because you don't have to deal with the tummy or hurt stomach, and you don't have to deal with a diaper change in the middle of the night, and you don't give it a bottle of water. You don't give kids food or like sugary drinks or caffeine. Those same things you would do to that 2-year-old Ellis that is hyper, and when he's irritable, when he doesn't get enough sleep, is the same thing we should do to prepare ourselves to wind down for sleep. And the other thing is really, like, if you find yourself rushed in the morning, make it something to look forward to every day, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna put in 3 hours of sleep. I have to get up at 6, so if I fall asleep at 2, I should be good and I can roll. No, make it something to look forward to wind down, so you don't wake up feeling rushed or behind. And be realistic with yourself. Don't tell yourself you're going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to work out if you're going to need a nap right after and oversleep to go to work and feel horrible.
So let's talk about exercise. Can exercise help your sleep if you're doing it the right way?
Absolutely. But you got to remember not to do it too close to your actual natural bedtime. Absolutely. Exercise is great. Of course, it includes your cardiovascular function, includes the function of everything in your body. Healthy diet, healthy foods. It's get checked, get fit, get moving. The more fit you are, the more prepared you are for your body to function the way that it should, including oxygenation, processing of nutrients, processing of everything that needs to work. So exercise is amazing for it, but you just don't want to do it too late because you'll rev up the system and you'll just be up. Oh man, if I do some more push-ups, I'll go to sleep. And then you're up doing push-ups every hour until 3 o'clock in the morning. No bueno, no bueno.
So y'all, that 24-hour fitness, maybe, might want to think about that.
No shade, no cap, no shade, but yeah.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Okay, so let's talk about diet. How is my diet affecting my sleep? So we talked about caffeine, we talked about sugar, those things that get the heart rate going, that rev the body up. So what are other things that are in our diet that could be impacting our ability to sleep?
Well, caffeine and sugar, and I said you want to watch the melatonins. You want to watch any of the proteins decent at sleep. It's more a function of when you're eating. And of course, you don't want to eat too much. But what happens is if you eat too much, your body's got to process that food anyway. And if you can imagine your machine winding, it's going to wind down anyway. And imagine what happens if I'm processing food like this, and then all of a sudden I'm slowing down naturally, and you put more in, you're going to feel it. Things are going to get backed up. You're going to have the gas, the bloat, the GERD, the heartburn, that taste in your throat. I don't know if you've ever eaten dinner too late. As you get older, particularly after 50, there comes a certain time where you just can't eat that ice cream at 2, 3 in the morning and not, quote unquote, pay for it. So again, less so than of course, eating the healthy things all the time. Timing and amounts of food are essential to getting a good night's rest. Really, literally, if you imagine shutting down the shop, like if you go to work, when you're closing down your office, you need to close down your body. And give yourself a couple hours to be home. Know that 3 hours that you go to sleep. Some people are night people, and that's okay. But you need to wind it down and know that you need enough time to sleep 7 to 9 hours.
So this is what I started doing, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong about this. So this is like therapy, and y'all just get the chance to watch this. So what I started doing is cutting or reducing the amount of carbs that I'm eating in my dinner. Like, so even though I might be eating later, it's like, so last night I had a nice piece of salmon and some roasted broccoli. No rice, no pasta, just the salmon and the broccoli. Is that something that could help or no? I'm looking at your face because.
So I'm saying if that works for you, absolutely. What's happening? What you're trying to do is you're trying to cut the amount of carbs, simple carbs. What happens is they call sugar spikes, and as they go up and they crash, the body, you end up paying for it. You get this energy, and then there's this crash, and then what can happen is you can end up hungry because the insulin burst and the crash, so you can end up causing yourself to eat more at night. If that works for you, remember this: the body's made up of proteins, carbs, fats, water, and a little bit of minerals and salt and sugar sprinkled in. So we should be able to eat proteins, carbs, fats, and water. And I typically tell people, if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. Like, it's hard though, because most of the things put in the foods are for preservatives, and I like potato chips, and they're processed. So as much as you shut up, fellas. As much as you can stay away. I'm just saying, man. As much as you can, stay away from the processed foods at any point, particularly at night. You do want to avoid those swings. So that's what eating the less carb-filled foods, like you were saying, with the protein, the salmon, and the broccoli. It could help, but I would talk to a doctor and nutritionist to find out what works best for you. I'm just big on the amount of food, and timing at night is what really gets you. And again, if you don't want to get up and pee, don't drink after 3 up to 3 hours before you go to bed. I'm trying to get this rhyme right, man. I'm not on this ain't the poet doctor show. I'm working on it. I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
We gotta work at it. We're gonna work on that. All right. We talked about that. So let's summarize this. We're here. We're a little bit over our time, but that fine has been great. And we had some wonderful questions. I wanted to get y'all's questions answered because that's part of what this show is about, is getting your questions answered. So summarizes this: sleep is important. For adults, we're talking about for adults, you should get about 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night, uninterrupted sleep. We've got to turn off the cell phones. We've got to turn off the computers. My man Wakanda said, have been using healing music to help get better sleep.
Yeah.
So that is something that is can work, but we got to turn off the cell phones, the music. We can't drink the water, and no eating. At least
Treat
3
yourself
hours.
like the irritable 2-year-old.
Treat yourself like an irritable. Make sure the room is dark because light will trick your body. Avoid the supplements like the extra melatonin because that could throw off some of your circadian rhythms. So those things like that. We should be getting, like everybody's going natural. Sleep should be natural. You shouldn't have to supplement it. You shouldn't have to enhance it. You shouldn't have to force it. You should just go make your room quiet, be intentional about going to a quiet place. And if you need some aid, the only aid should be a good book.
Good book, some music, and a dark room. So the other important thing is you said it should be natural. Talk to your doctor about any health conditions that you have, and more importantly, about any medications you have. If you don't have time to talk to your healthcare provider, talk to your pharmacist about side effects, because remember that it's really important for you to take whatever medications are prescribed so your body can be in its most natural state. So you want to get meds that don't counteract that as best as possible. So it's a thing, right? It's a thing. Be intentional about your sleep game.
Be intentional. That's the phrase of the day. Make sure, because your sleep is important. It's part of your health and wellness. I know some people think, okay, that's just, I have to sleep because that's just rest, but it's really a legitimate part of your health and wellness. So if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to gain muscle, I know some younger people try to gain muscle, you're going to see that your workouts are going to be as productive and as positive. You're not getting enough sleep because that's part of the whole rest, diet, wellness routine. You got to get that rest in between so your body has time to grow. Your body has time to really process everything that you put in it. So really do what you need to do.
Yeah, so that's it. Get checked, get fit, get moving to your sleep like you would with your life. Don't drink. Man, I almost had it, man. Don't drink. Oh, man.
I got it. Think before you drink.
Think before you drink. Think before you sleep and then go to sleep. Go to bed like your mama said. Like that, like your mama said. I like it.
And like the song said, get check, get fit, get moving, do something.
Do something. Go to bed.
And we'll see y'all in 2 weeks. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Check us out. And in the meantime, with the free time, get checked, get fit,
get moving.
yeah.